The night I died, the twin moons turned crimson. I remember the taste of blood in my mouth, the silver arrow protruding from my chest, and the satisfied smirk on my sister's face as she stood over me. What I don't remember is how I woke up 3 days later in the den of the Alpha who was supposed to be my executioner. "You're awake," a voice rumbled from the shadows, deep and resonant enough to make my bones vibrate. Unfortunate. I tried to sit up, but my body screamed in protest. Every muscle felt like it had been torn apart and stitched back together with thorns. The chamber around me was carved from black obsidian, lit by glowing crystals that pulsed with an eerie blue light. Runes covered every surface, ancient and writhing as if alive. Where am I? My voice came out as a rasp. Somewhere you shouldn't be. Somewhere no one has been for 300 years. The figure stepped into the light and my breath caught. Alpha Kael Shadowmere was everything the legends promised, and nothing I'd expected. Towering and broad-shouldered, his body was a weapon honed by centuries of survival. But it was his eyes that trapped me. Silver as starlight, ancient as the mountains, and burning with an intensity that made me want to both flee and move closer. His hair fell in dark waves to his shoulders, and ritual scars marked his bronze skin in patterns that told stories of blood and conquest. "You're the rogue Alpha," I whispered. "The one they say slaughtered his entire pack." His jaw tightened. "They say many things. Most are lies. Some are worse than the truth." He moved closer, each step deliberate, predatory. I should have been afraid. Instead, something inside me stirred, something primal that recognized him in a way that defied logic. "Your sister sent assassins to finish what she started," he said, crouching beside the stone slab where I lay. This close I could see the flecks of gold in his silver eyes, the barely contained power that radiated from him like heat. "They tracked your blood here. I killed them. Why?" "I managed." "Why save me?" His hand moved to my throat, fingers wrapping around it with terrifying gentleness. I could feel my pulse hammering against his palm. "Because your death would have been wasteful. And because—" His eyes searched mine, something flickering in their depths. Confusion, perhaps, or recognition. I don't yet know. He released me abruptly and stood, turning away. "You're Lyra Moonshadow, Omega of the Moonfire Pack. Your sister Sarah killed your parents, framed you for their murder, and took the Alpha's crown. She wants you dead because the pack bond hasn't fully accepted her. As long as you live, her claim is contested." I stared at his back, at the massive scars that crisscrossed it, claw marks that should have been fatal. "How do you know all this?" "I make it my business to know about wolves who disturb the balance." He turned back to face me and his expression was carefully blank. "You survived a silver arrow through the heart." "That's impossible for any wolf, even an alpha. Which means you're not what you appear to be." My fingers instinctively went to my chest, where I could feel the raised scar beneath the rough shirt someone had dressed me in. "I don't understand." "Neither do I." He paced the room like a caged predator. "But I intend to find out. You'll stay here until I do." "You're making me a prisoner?" "I'm keeping you alive." His voice was sharp. "The moment you set foot outside this mountain, your sister will know. She has blood witches tracking you. The only reason they can't find you here is because this place is warded by magic older than the packs themselves." "Then let them find me," I said, surprising myself with the venom in my voice. "Let them come. I want to watch my sister's face when I rip her throat out." Kael was in front of me in an instant, his hand gripping my chin, forcing me to meet his gaze. "That rage will get you killed. You're weak, untrained, and you don't even know what you are. You wouldn't last 5 minutes against Sarah. Then teach me." The words escaped before I could stop them. Something dangerous flickered in his eyes. "You don't know what you're asking. I'm asking for vengeance. I'm asking for justice. I'm asking—" My voice broke. "I'm asking for a reason to keep breathing when everyone I loved is dead." His grip softened, thumb brushing my jawline with unexpected tenderness. For a moment, the hardness in his expression cracked, revealing something raw beneath. "Vengeance is a cold companion, little wolf. It will hollow you out until there's nothing left but rage and regret. You seem well acquainted with it." A bitter smile touched his lips, which is how I know. He released me and stepped back, running a hand through his hair. "If I train you, you follow my rules absolutely. You don't leave this mountain. You don't question my methods, and you accept that I may decide you're too dangerous to let live." "Dangerous to whom?" "Everyone." His eyes held mine. "The power I sense in you. If awakened without control, it could tear the realm apart." I should have been terrified. Instead, I felt a thrill of something I hadn't experienced since my parents died. Hope. When do we start? The first lesson nearly killed me. Kael led me deep into the mountain, through passages that seemed to shift and change, until we reached a massive cavern lit by both moons shining through a natural skylight. The floor was covered in smooth stones marked with runes. "Shift," he commanded. I tried. Gods, I tried. But the wolf that had always been as natural as breathing refused to answer. I collapsed to my knees, gasping, feeling as if my insides were tearing themselves apart. "You can't." It wasn't a question. Not since... I couldn't finish. Since I died. Since the arrow pierced my heart and everything went dark. Kael circled me slowly, and I could feel his gaze assessing, calculating. "Your wolf is hiding. She's afraid of what she's become. Then how do I bring her back?" "You don't." He stopped in front of me. "You become what you're meant to be." He extended his hand, and when I took it, power surged between us like lightning. I gasped as images flooded my mind. Ancient wolves larger than horses, beings of pure moonlight. Battles that shaped the world itself. "The first wolves weren't made by the gods," Kael said, his voice echoing strangely. "They were born from the collision of the twin moons, when celestial bodies touched the mortal realm. True wolves, primordials, with power that could reshape reality. The packs you know are merely descendants diluted through generations. What does that have to do with me?" His grip tightened. "I think when you died, whatever dormant blood ran through your veins woke up. I think you're a throwback, Lyra. A primordial like me." The world tilted. "You're the last of my kind. Or so I thought, until you." His expression was unreadable. "It's why I slaughtered my pack. They discovered what I was and tried to bind my power, to use me as a weapon. I refused to be enslaved." "So you killed them all?" Pain flashed across his face so quick I almost missed it. "I killed those who forced my hand. But yes, I have their blood on my conscience. Every life, every scream." He released my hand. "That's the burden of our power, Lyra. We're not meant to exist in this age. We're too much, too dangerous, too other." I understood then why he'd saved me, not out of kindness, but because he was alone. Had been alone for so long that finding another like himself, even a potential threat, was worth the risk. "Show me," I said. "Show me what I could become." His eyes flashed silver bright. "Are you certain? Once you see, once you know, there's no going back to who you were. That girl is already dead. Then brace yourself." He shifted, but not into the wolf I expected. His form expanded, twisted, became something out of legend. A massive creature that was more moonlight than flesh, standing 12 feet tall with eyes like burning stars. The power radiating from him drove me to my knees, primal and overwhelming. This was what gods feared. This was what the world had forgotten, and apparently this was what I could become. 3 weeks passed in a blur of training, pain, and slow transformation. Kael was a harsh teacher, pushing me past every limit until I thought I'd break. But something strange happened in those dark mountain chambers. Between the brutal lessons and quiet moments of recovery, an understanding grew between us. He'd bring me food and tend to my injuries with hands that could tear through stone but touched me like I was made of glass. He'd sit with me during nightmares, his presence alone enough to chase away the worst memories. And sometimes, when he thought I was sleeping, I'd catch him watching me with an expression that looked almost like wonder. "Why do you do that?" I asked one night when pain kept sleep at bay. "Do what?" "Look at me like I'm going to disappear." He was silent for so long I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, "Because everything I've ever cared for has been taken from me, and I'm terrified that you will be too." My heart stuttered. "Kael, don't," he stood abruptly. "Don't make this into something it can't be. I'm teaching you to survive, nothing more." But his eyes told a different story, one of loneliness so deep it had carved him hollow, and a desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, he didn't have to be alone anymore. It was during the 4th week that I finally shifted. The transformation was agony and ecstasy combined. My body came apart and reformed into something magnificent. A wolf of pure moonlight with fur like liquid silver and eyes that burned with primordial power. I was massive, nearly as large as Kael's true form, and the energy coursing through me felt limitless. Kael shifted beside me, and for the first time, I understood. This was what we were, not monsters, not weapons, but beings of pure, terrible beauty. We ran through the mountain passages, our forms barely touching the ground. And when we burst out onto the peak under the twin moons, I threw back my head and howled. The sound echoed across the realm, ancient and powerful, announcing to any who could hear that the Primordials had returned. When we shifted back, Kael pulled me against him, his arms wrapping around me with surprising desperation. "You're magnificent," he breathed against my hair. "And I am so very afraid for you." I pulled back to look at him, seeing vulnerability in those ancient eyes for the first time. "Why?" "Because now that I've found you, now that I know what you are." His hand cupped my face, thumb tracing my cheekbone. "I don't think I can let you go. And that makes me selfish, dangerous. What if I don't want to be let go?" His expression cracked, revealing the raw longing beneath. "Lyra." But before he could continue, his head snapped toward the entrance. Every muscle in his body went rigid. "They've found us," he said, his voice deadly calm. "Somehow they've broken through the wards." I could feel it now, too. Dozens of wolves approaching, and at their center a presence I recognized with bone-deep hatred. "Sarah, how?" I demanded. Kyle's face was grim as he pulled me toward the chamber depths. "There's only one way to break wards this ancient." "Blood magic." "Your blood magic." The implication hit me like a physical blow. "The arrow? She marked you with it, used your own death to create a connection she could exploit." He spun to face me, gripping my shoulders. "Listen carefully. There's a passage that leads to the Shadowlands. You have to run now before— I'm not leaving you to face them alone. You have to." His voice broke with urgency. "You're not ready for this fight. She has an army, Lyra. Even we can't survive." "No." I stepped back, power surging through me. "I've run long enough." His eyes widened as he felt what I was doing, drawing on the primordial magic, letting it fill me completely. "Lyra, stop. If you lose control, then stop me." I met his gaze. "But I won't abandon you, not now. Not ever." For a moment, emotion warred across his face. Fear, pride, and something that looked dangerously like love. Then he pulled me into a fierce kiss that tasted of desperation and promise. "Together, then," he whispered against my lips. "But if we're doing this, there's something you need to know about your sister. About why she really wants you dead." "What?" The sound of wolves crashing through the outer chambers echoed down the passage. Sarah's voice rang out, amplified by magic. "Come out, dear sister. I've brought you a gift. The heads of everyone you ever loved in the Moonfire Pack. And I'm saving a special death for your new protector." Kyle's expression hardened into something terrifying. "She's not just an usurper, Lyra. She's not even your sister." "What are you talking about?" "The real Sarah died when you were children. The thing wearing her face is a hollow, a demon that feeds on pack bonds and wolf magic. She's been harvesting your pack for years, and now that you've awakened." He looked at me with grim certainty. "You're powerful enough to destroy her, but she knows that. Which means she's not here to capture you. Then why?" His silver eyes held mine, and I saw the terrible truth in them before he spoke. "She's here to consume what you've become, and if she succeeds, she'll have the power to devour every wolf pack in the realm." The cavern entrance exploded inward, and darkness poured through like a living thing. At its center stood my sister, or the creature pretending to be her, with eyes that glowed crimson and a smile that promised annihilation. "Hello, Lyra," she purred, her voice layered with something inhuman. "Let's finish what we started, shall we?"